Hey, welcome to Gold's Garage. So a little different today. I've had Bill Little and the dyno with me a few times, and today we're going to go to Bill Little's shop. It's called Belmont Automotive in London, Ontario, and Bill's waiting for us inside. This is his shop, and he's got lots going on. He's going to kind of walk around and narrate what activities he's got going on. Bill is probably the most highly respected race engine builder in the city of London and for miles around. So you're going to enjoy listening to him. So let's go and see what Bill has to show us.
Come on in, guys.
Where is he?
Hi, Alan.
How's it going, Bill?
How you doing? Hi, Alex.
So there's Bill.
Hey.
Everybody recognizes him already. He's been on the videos before. So I'm going to kind of stand back and let Alec and Bill do all the work. He's going to narrate what's going on in his shop. And there's a lot of stuff I don't even understand. So go ahead, guys.
Okay, I have a bunch of stuff here to show you guys. People have been dropping their engines off, trannies off. It's that time of year. So I guess we'll start with this engine right here. So this is a 64 Avanti Studebaker engine. 289 cubic inch. It's not a Ford. It was actually a Studebaker engine. And it's here to get rebuilt, and it's seized up. So they had oil in the cylinders, but it's still seized up. So I got some work ahead of me here to try and get the thing unseized. The transmission came on the back of it. So I have to get it unseized so I can undo the torque converter to get the transmission off it. So that's going to be a project coming up. The 64 Avanti, there was only 809 of these made in 64. So this is the R2, I believe. It's the 4-barrel version. They had an R1, and I might be wrong. This might be an R1. They had an R3, which was a supercharged version, and it was the fastest production car back in 1964, which is pretty cool. What else have I got here? So my buddy Steve Scrans brought me, he's working on a 71 Charger. He brought me a 383 today. We're going to restore it. He's restoring the car. I'm going to restore the engine, put a little bit of a cam in there, raise the compression a little bit, but it's still going to be a driver, so we're not going to do anything radical to that. That's the block. These are the 346 heads that came on it. The actual compression ratio of this engine, believe it or not, was only, they said 8.5, but it was closer to 7.5. The piston was 1/8 of an inch down the bore.
Wow, is that right? Not very good quench, I guess.
Not very good at all, and an 88 cc combustion chamber. So
for God's sake.
It's not a wonder these things had no power back in the day.
Yeah, no
so, and it was interesting. So this engine was seized up too, and we figured it was the piston rings, but all the rods. Here's a piston and rod assembly. The rods are all seized in the piston.
Oh, that's unusual, eh?
Isn't that strange? All of them.
I've never seen that, yeah.
Me either. So,
yeah,
you know, they won't move at all, you know.
Oh.
I'm not really sure.
Chemically bonded or something, eh?
Yeah, there must be something. I don't know if it was something in the gasoline that caused it, or there's no signs of any water in it, so I'm not sure. But it's going to get new pistons, and the rods all resized and everything also.
You got your work cut out for you.
I do. There's a lot of work, yeah. And so this is the intake off it, and it's supposed to have a Holley carburetor on it. I think the list number was 3467, and Steve had the carburetor, and he was here earlier, and I had some old carburetors in a box up in the archives, and I found a 3467.
Oh, lucky.
One number off, same carburetor, but it would have been on a 440 instead of a 383. So it's always good to keep some of this old stuff, you know.
Yep.
So what else I got? I got a C6 tranny here that I'm doing for a guy. The guy's doing a Ford pickup truck, restoring it, and he has a nice 351 in it, or 302, stroke 302, I believe. And I'm doing the transmission in it. He wants it to shift hard, get rubber in second gear, so I'm going to see if I can attempt that. So I think that's no problem doing that. Let's move down the line here. So I've got this block right here is a Buick 350, and it's out of a 75 Omega. and it's a stock eliminator motor. And it came here last year, and we had to order pistons and had the camshaft reground, and I had to wait forever for parts for it. It's kind of interesting. I'll show you the cam.
Isn't your super stock a Buick?
My super stock's an Oldsmobile.
Okay, in a Buick.
So this is a Buick in an Oldsmobile car,
Okay, sorry.
and mine's a Oldsmobile and a Pontiac.
Okay.
So this gets confusing, doesn't it?
No, that's,
So let me see. Here's the cam, custom cam. There it is, right there. So this is a stocker camshaft, and this is the secret to making the power. It's also a $1,000 camshaft, so I certainly do not want to drop it. I had to wait forever for cores for this. So there's the stocker lobe. And if you see that, it's almost flat on the top.
cam.
It looks like a roller cam, but it's a flat tappet.
is that right?
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's just gonna get up there and hang there.
They open fast, they hold it there.
Stay for a long
They
time.
call that a dwell lobe. So it'll dwell for probably 6 to 8, 10 degrees over the nose.
Like the old General Kinetics legal cheater can.
Exactly. And maybe they were even a little more aggressive than what this one. This is a little more modern lobe. I had this cam nitrided. That's why it's black like that.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah, so you're not gonna lose
that.
the
No,
lifters.
that coating's roughly what, 15 thou thick.
Yeah. So what's that cost, Bill? The
It was
nitride?
140 US to
Money
nitride.
well spent to make sure
It is.
that your lifters aren't going to go flat, right?
It certainly is. I think if you had your cam nitrided and you used a GM lifter like
Nothing to
Alan
worry-
did
nothing to
in
worry
previous videos,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have a problem.
Right.
You know.
Nothing to worry about.
Nope, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll put this back in here. So this is my buddy Dan Whetstone.
Hi, Dan. Nice to
Dan's
meet
a
you.
body man. He
Oh,
does
okay.
awesome work,
Oh, cool.
and he does a lot of high-end stuff. So
Okay.
I'm going to be doing some work for him coming up here, selling him some parts and stuff. You know.
Say hi,
So
Dan. You're in the
Say
video
hi,
whether you
Dan.
like it or not.
You're going to be a YouTube star. How's that? I'm going to show you the lifters here if I can find them. I don't have them to show you right now, but what they are, they're a hydraulic lifter with a ceramic foot
Oh, okay.
that's been pressed into the end of them.
Really?
And it's being ceramic, it's very, very hard.
For sure, yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like the GM lifter.
Right, yeah.
Instead of being
Yeah.
tool steel, it's ceramic.
Right,
And between having the ceramic coating or the solid ceramic and the camshaft, we shouldn't have any break-in problems.
How big a spring are you using with these?
I'm probably going to be running 135, 140 pounds maybe on the seat.
How much open?
Probably around the 300, 320
Yeah,
mark
it's not
maybe,
too
you know.
crazy. It's not too crazy.
It's not a lot of lift,
No.
so you really don't need a
Sure.
real high rate spring up there, you know. I think this engine will probably be about 6,500 RPM limit,
Okay.
something like that. But it should make, you know, he's run before we freshened it up. I think he ran 1230s, 1220s with it.
In an Omega.
In an Omega.
Omegas are popular drag racing cars, eh?
Well, they're like a Nova.
Yeah, like
Right?
Nova,
Yeah, you know, so,
same thing. Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm hoping he can get in the 11s after we're
You
done.
can, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as long as the Buicks have some oiling problems, and I'm going to try to address that. So this blue block right here, I'll move this away from here. So we have a 68 Mustang 428 Cobra Jet motor. The guy brought it to me a year and a half ago, and we had it machined, and I had the bores sonic checked, and everything was good. So the block came back from being machined, and it sat here for about 4 months. And when I was putting it together, I happened to look in the frost plug hole, and I could see daylight.
Oh, for God's sake.
And you could see little rust pockets that had formed after it was machined.
Wow, is that so? It
Yeah,
actually
it's-
rusted through then?
Yes, and what it was, there was like pock marks.
Really?
So the sonic checker wouldn't catch that,
Right.
because it was thick, and then all of a sudden there'd be a little divot, right?
A Magnaflux wouldn't catch that?
Nope.
No.
Nope,
Okay.
nope. So, anyway, we ended up, because the block had already been line honed and decked and all that stuff, we ended up putting sleeves in it. So we ended up putting 8 sleeves in it.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, so that was a $3,000 deal to do that.
That's an expensive block.
These blocks are hard to find,
Yeah, right.
so yeah, that's why we ended up. Atchison Machine did the sleeves for me. You can't even tell where the sleeves in there hardly, you know. So
Sure.
they've done a real nice job on it, and I'm going to fill the bottom of the block, the bottom inch, full of cement
All right.
to help reinforce the sleeve.
Okay.
And anyway, I've got the heads all done. They're over on that bench, and I got to get it together. Coming up here soon. What else have I got? I got an M21 tranny apart. This is Randy's. What's Randy have? A 69 or
69, 2 plus 2.
a 69 2+2 that he's doing, and it was a 427 car, and it's kind of rare. Being
It's a close ratio then too.
it was.
Yeah. Okay.
It-
yeah. So it must have had a big gear rear end at 373 or more. or
It
something.
would probably have some rear, or else it would have been a real dog taken off.
GM,
it
if you
didn't
have a M21, you had to have at least a 373.
Yes, did you? I wasn't sure if that was the case. there.
355 and down, you could have an M20.
Mhm.
373 and up, you had an M21.
Okay,
Basically
all right.
what-
Because I know back in the day it was common to put 456 or 488s in these cars
Oh, yeah.
to make them really work nice. You know.
I had one of my Z28 on the street all the time I owned it.
You know
On the
that
drive.
that you can change the ratios fairly easy in these transmissions. You change the counter shaft, and you
Okay.
change this gear.
Is that right? Eh?
And it turns it into a 252 low gear
It does, eh?
and a 164 second.
That'd be a good thing to do.
Yes,
I would
yes.
suggest doing that then.
Auto Gear in Syracuse makes this piece. So basically, you use an M20 input shaft,
Sure. Yeah.
right, and an M20 counter shaft, and it makes everything work like that.
M21 is not a good street transmission.
Not in a close ratio,
No, absolutely.
not at all. So anyway, I'm getting that one. I got all the parts for it and everything. I've got transmission sitting here. I'm doing a 350 turbo for a guy's 81 Camaro. Just a street car. I got a 71.5 Camaro transmission here out of kind of a race car. It's kind of a street and strip car, and the guy wants a trans brake and a 4,000 converter for it. 204R for a 396 69 Chevelle that I'm building the engine for. The engine's over on the bench. And this is interesting right here, Alex. So I did this transmission for this guy last year, and he built a new engine, a 400 small block, and he put the tranny in, and it had a bad vibration. And he called me, and he thought maybe it was a rod bearing or something out of it, and I knew he was going from a 350 to a 400. So I asked him, is the engine internally or externally balanced? And he said, I don't know. Come to find out, it was externally balanced, and he put his 350 stuff on it, and it shook it so bad it broke the bell housing just sitting there. The car never went down the track. You know, like that's pretty bad, just sitting there, right?
We'll talk a little bit about 200R4 versus 704R.
Okay, so
Or the other way, 204R versus 700R4, I guess it is, right?
yes,
So they're interchangeable, right?
they are. No, so the 700's a 307 low gear, I believe.
306, yeah.
Is it 306? And these 200s, 204Rs, they're 274. I think that the 200 is a better transmission overall. The 700 seem to have problems with the 3/4 clutch pack burning out all the time.
Okay.
Transgo makes a great kit for these that uses both areas of the high clutch piston, add a lot more capacity. You can buy extra clutches for it. You can put extra clutches in overdrive. You can get a wide band for it. Big servo. They're small inside, but they put them in the Grand Nationals, and they made a ton of
Right.
power in the Grand Nationals, you know. So, but if
They're a little
you,
more compact too, eh, to install, eh? in
they are,
certain vehicles.
they're not quite as bad. And I quit using lockup converters 4 years ago because I had too many problems with converters going in and out of lockup.
Okay.
So I have my converters built none lockup, and when you do that, you put a special valve in the oil pump to redirect the oil the other way through the converter.
Okay, so
So-
you can lock it up.
So no, you're still not locking it up.
You're still, okay.
If you have any kind of camshaft in it, a lockup converter will feel much like a clutch in fourth or fifth gear, a clutch
okay.
car.
Okay.
And you go to get on it and it's a little bit jerky, you know, and until it comes out of lockup. So this way the converter's still slipping a couple hundred RPM, but it's a lot better road feel.
Right, sure.
You still
Yeah,
have the
smoother
overdrive.
too, it'd be smooth.
A lot smoother, yeah, because you have a bit of slippage.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't have that hesitation.
you still have the overdrive. It's still going to cut it back, but you end up with just a nicer driving vehicle anyway. That's as far as I'm concerned. And over here we have a T5 transmission out of a 88, 89 Mustang. The guy's restoring it, and it's got a lot of miles on it. And it needs bearings and synchros, and I'm going to sell them a clutch and flywheel and everything too. So I'll get to that in the new year, hopefully. I got a young fellow with a Dodge pickup truck, a 91 Dodge pickup truck, and he's always wanted a good engine for it. So anyway, he's got a 360 in it right now. So he brought me this 440, and we bored and honed it, hot tanked it, magnafluxed everything, and I'm going to, I got a small Lunati camshaft. I'm going to do a little bit of head work on it. It should make, 460 horse, probably 540 foot-pounds of torque. It's a pickup truck. He just wants to burn rubber with it. So
You will.
He will
He will.
burn rubber with it, no problem. So that's Rob's engine, and he's really excited to get it in his truck, and he's got a young son, and his young son loves burnouts. So he's going to be doing some burnouts for his.
There you go.
So now what else we got here? So I'm just finishing up a 727 transmission. This is Trevor's, and Trevor's restoring a 69 Charger, and it's a 383 car. He had the engine rebuilt elsewhere, but I'm doing the transmission. So rebuilt the tranny with a shift kit. He doesn't need it to shift really hard. It's just going to shift nice and firm for him. He wants a driver. So I'm finishing it up. He wanted it. He wanted the case glass beaded, and he brought me some clear. So we're going to see how that works. Once it's together, I'm going to clear it. And I normally paint my trannies black with a blue stripe down the back. That's my trademark, but he wanted this one just natural. So before lunch, I painted up some of the brackets and stuff for it. I like things looking kind of have some contrast to it when I do it.
Very nice,
Just
yeah.
looks nice, right? So underneath this blanket is a 396 I'm doing for the Chevelle that the 204R is going in. And it's going to be, I'm going to do a little bit of head work, camshaft, hydraulic roller cam, and it'll be around 430, 440 horse when I'm done. The guys restored it completely too. So
Okay,
it's
very
going
nice.
to be a very nice car. That's the crankshaft out of it, Alex. I had it all washed up, waiting to go in the block, and then I got sidetracked doing other stuff. So it's going to have to be washed up and cleaned again.
There you go.
So if you look down here, I have, your viewers will probably know that these are LS heads. And I have a fella that is building it's a rock climbing truck, basically.
Oh, really?
And we're going to build an LS, a 6-liter for him with a supercharger on it.
Oh, God.
So he brought me these heads. We're going to end up putting new valves and everything in it. I don't know. This head was already done by someone, and I'm going to end up porting the heads. The intakes are probably fine. The exhausts are going to get some work. And then he brought me another head. It's just a
The cathedral,
Yep.
cathedral port. Is that what you
No,
call heart
no,
shaped
it's
combustion chambers? Is that what that you call that?
that's heart shaped. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And
I don't know much about
that's not
LSs, so.
cathedral.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh, it's a big square port.
Yep,
Okay.
it's square port or rec
Right.
port, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
you can see how these
Yeah.
the spark plugs aiming right over at the exhaust valve.
Yep.
They've made this shape because you have a lot of air that moves out the back of the valve.
Yep.
And you know, that's most combustion chambers are sort of this shape anymore.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so
That's for the car, right?
that's going to be a project. He's bringing the short block and stuff to me next Friday, I guess. Now moving along here, I have another 204R on the bench. So just to see the parts that go into it, there's a 204R transmission, all in pieces.
Way too many parts for me.
It's like a big jigsaw puzzle.
Way over my head. Oh, okay. Go to low battery mode then. Go to low battery mode. Okay, I'll delete that out.
No, there's a lot of pieces, but they can only go together one way. Here we have a 604 cubic inch big block Chevy, and this is my friend Clint. And by the way, all my customers become my friends. When they come to me, we sit down, we talk about their combination, we talk about how much money they have to spend, what the end result they're expecting. Most people want an engine that's drivable, that sounds really good, and gets good gas mileage. Well, that sounds impossible, but you can get really close to that, you know. Now, Clint, this is his dream car engine. It's going to have a 871 blower on top, Brodex heads, solid roller cam. It should make 12 to 1300 horsepower, depending on the pulleys. He may not need all that in the car. It's a 69 Nova with a 6-speed Tremec, Ford 9-inch. It's all done well, and he's restoring the car.
Let us know when you're dyno it, Bill.
So we will. Yes, that's a good idea.
See
so
if you can break the dyno.
It'll be interesting to see, but it's been really hard stuffing a 4 5/8 stroke with a 6.535 rod into a short deck big block. But I've accomplished it, and got to do a little bit of grinding on the bottom of the bores to clear the rods. So here we have my friend Frank Lamers Construction. I did this engine 10 years ago for Frank. It's in a 67 Chevy pickup truck. He runs 1070s with it. 496 dart intake, 10.5 to 1 compression, dart heads on it, and I ported the heads probably 5 years ago. It made almost 700 horse on the dyno, but it's tired. It needs rings, bearings. So I'm going to get that soon. And then I have Greg Fox's 454 here. It's an original LS6 engine.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, so it's 12.5 to 1.
That's a rare piece.
It is a rare piece, and I did that for him probably 7 years ago. It made 660 horse. They didn't do the valve lash adjustment as much as they should have, and they broke some lifters. And this is what happens when you, I don't know if you can see that wheel moving around. It actually broke one lifter right off in the bottom, and then it's spun, and half the lifters are bad. That's why you always need to do valve lash adjustment on a solid cam. He's going with a hydraulic roller cam, and I think that's the fix for a lot of this street stuff or drag race stuff where people don't want to maintain stuff, is to put a hydraulic roller in.
The rest of the needle bearings are between his bearings and his crankshaft.
They're down in the oil pan, I'm pretty sure. So they would have gone all over the place. I'll have to probably hone it again. But we'll get him fixed up. I ported these heads too. It's sort of interesting. These heads were originally done by Motor Tech.
Really?
Which is David Vizard's deal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And I think someplace on these heads it's actually stamped. And they were very good. All I did was some exhaust work. The intake ports were awesome. I just brought the exhaust ports up a little bit and you know, like 650, 660 horse is pretty good for an original
No kidding.
engine, right? So, and I got a Pontiac 400 there that's going in a 69 GTO. The guy has a 350 in it, and he brought me this 400. It's been in a fire. We took it apart, and it's ready to go to the machine shop and get hot tanked and magnafluxed. So anyway, I think that's pretty much everything I have here. I think I'm going to recruit Alan and Alex to help me put some of this stuff together. So stay tuned, because
I'm going to apprentice under Bill.
there you go.
He's going to sign me up as his apprentice. So you'll be the oldest apprentice you ever had.
That's
sure,
okay.
right?
That's all right. We'll do it.
Your apprentice shouldn't be older than you are. How does that work? Right?
I don't know.
Okay, before I forget, thanks very much, Bill. We'll be back, and Bill's going to do some more stuff. He's got another idea to show you when you advance and retard cam, what it does to your piston to valve clearance. But you got to kind of be mocked up to show that.
I got to have an engine
right?
apart.
So you got to be set up to do that. So today we just wanted to take a walk around and see what's going on, and it's pretty overwhelming coming to Bill's shop. You should sell tours or something like that.
I should have.
Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. And before I forget, we just passed 8,000 subscribers this morning, so it's another milestone. We're on forward, looking for 10,000 next. So thank you very much, Bill.
Merry Christmas.
Taking time, and Merry Christmas to everybody.